Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for our regular Thursday lecture. My name is Victoria, I'm the Outreach Coordinator for EducationUSA and your regular lecturer. Today we're going to talk about American community colleges and how they can become your first step to study in the US. So, let us take a closer look at this system, in particular at the system of 2+2, and how community colleges can offer you a simplified admission procedure, low tuition fees, and of course, scholarship. Two-year colleges are a great opportunity to gradually adapt to American culture and improve your English, and their classrooms are, of course, equipped with innovative tools and technologies, and classes are not only aimed at theoretical knowledge, but also at you developing practical skills. So today we are going to talk with our lovely guest, Carly O'Keefe, who's the International Services Coordinator at Monroe Community College. And Carly is going to help us learn more about the American community college system and the first steps you need to take in order to start your journey to higher education in the USA. Carly, thank you so much for joining us today. And if for any of you watching at home, please don't forget that you can put your comments down below and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And of course, this video will have a recording that you can watch afterwards at home. Carly, it's a pleasure to have you here and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Victoria. Good evening, everyone. Like Victoria said, my name is Carly O'Keefe. I am the International Services Coordinator at Monroe Community College. Monroe Community College is located in Rochester, New York. So many of you have probably heard or even maybe visited New York State, but we are about 5 hours away from New York City. So we're in a more suburban region of the state. I'll probably actually just jump right into the presentation if you all don't mind. Great, thank you. So I'm going to start off by giving kind of an overview of what the community college system is all about. Victoria was wonderful and gave some great pointers already about what makes community colleges great. But I know that the system can be kind of a new idea and very unique to students who are outside of the United States. The community college is kind of very unique and special to the United States education system. So I'll go over a little bit about what it means, how it fits into the university structure, the different benefits of community colleges, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about MCC in particular. So the way that community college fits into the U.S. higher education system is sort of in the bottom of that educational pyramid. So students are required to finish high school in order to enroll in community college, although we do have some special programs as well for students who have not completed high school to help them get a general equivalency diploma or a pathway program that allows them to complete a high school equivalency while also completing credits toward an associate's degree. But in general, the majority of students that are enrolling at community college have already completed high school. And we have students who have completed high school certainly here in the United States and also all over the world enrolling in our community college. So community college is built to fit in as the first 2 years of university. So students would finish high school, would start working on their associate's degree, which is a 2-year degree. And then after completion of that associate's degree, can move on for 2 additional years onto a bachelor's, and then maybe in the future, even master's or doctorate level degrees. For community college statistics, there are over 1,100 community colleges in the United States, so it is a very robust system. We have a very broad range of ages of students who are attending community colleges. We have plenty of traditional aged college students, in that 18 to 22 age range. But we also have many adult students at the community college level who are attending college for the first time. They may be coming back to school to change their degree or change their career path. And so that's a nice, a very interesting thing that makes the learning environment diverse. We also have students who are attending part-time or full-time at community college, students who are, again, following that traditional route of being a full-time student, but also many students who attend part-time because they have families or they're working part-time or full-time as well. And we also have more women actually statistically attending community college and university in general in the United States right now. So those are some general statistics. You'll see that there are community colleges spread throughout the entire United States. There are obviously greater concentrations of community colleges located in bigger cities. So you'll see that represented on the map, you know, in New York City and Houston and Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, but they're really everywhere. Anywhere that there is a concentration of people, you'll see a community college. And in many communities, a community college may be the main or the primary source of higher education, especially in rural areas. So it's absolutely about increasing access to higher education for people in all parts of the country. So some primary missions of the community college. Number one is to increase access to higher education, like we mentioned. Community colleges open enrollment. There is a lower barrier to entry for university at community college. It's less costly most of the time. And it's not only for students who performed extraordinarily well in high school. It's kind of lowering that barrier to entry and making university study more accessible to everyone. Community college also, they have a big goal of responding to our local community's needs. Community colleges are very tied to the local workforce of the communities that they sit in. So for example, if a community needs nurses, we may build up our nursing program to fill that need. Or if we need more electricians, we see a need for people who understand mechatronics or robotics, or there's a big workforce of opticians needed, for example. We really try to create or increase the load of those programs to fulfill the workforce needs of our local community. In addition, a primary mission is to serve diverse student populations. So that may be minority or underserved students, students who have been maybe economically disadvantaged in the past, students who have, historically have attended university at lower rates in the past. We really are trying to serve those diverse student populations and increase access to higher education for them. Some benefits that Victoria mentioned as well. Community college is often more affordable than entering directly into four-year universities. We often have a lower tuition cost. We are accessible. We have an open admissions policy, and we're still accredited, meaning just because you're attending a community college that has that more affordable tuition cost and that open admission, it doesn't mean that the quality of education is going to suffer. We have the same accreditation as four-year institutions, four-year universities. So I want to talk a little bit about some of those benefits of community college in a little bit deeper level. So the community college focus is really on teaching and learning. A lot of times community colleges, some are very large, but the majority are, smaller size than you might think of when you think of a typical, especially public, large, university in the United States that might have, 40,000 students in it. Community colleges really focus on teaching and learning. Classes are taught by faculty, professors with advanced degrees. They're not taught by teaching assistants. We have small class sizes, so there's a lot more opportunity for discussion and interaction with your faculty, with your professors, and with your classmates. a lot of times if you're attending a very large university, your Calculus 1 class might be in a lecture hall that seats 200, 300 students, and it might be taught by, a graduate teaching assistant. Here at MCC, I can definitely speak to the fact that our class sizes are typically no larger than about 30 students. And so there's really that opportunity to get to know each and every one of your faculty members and your classmates as well. A lot more opportunity for open discussion within the class, hearing everyone's individual thoughts and opinions, a lot more getting hands-on as well. In addition, we have a lot of programs that are designed to support student success, both academic and social needs. So for example, even though we're a community college, which a lot of students may commute to, live at home with, family and commute to, we still do offer on-campus housing at our campus, and many other community colleges are heading in that direction as well, because we're seeing that students, even though they're at a community college, they're wanting to have that traditional college experience of living on campus and being a part of campus life, student organizations, and clubs. So we still have all of those opportunities that a traditional four-year university would offer. We also recognize that because we are serving diverse students with many needs, we provide a lot of things for free that maybe a four-year university might not provide as robustly. So for example, we have a very large tutoring center here on campus that provides free tutoring for students in nearly every academic discipline or subject that they could imagine. We offer a lot of opportunities for students who may be feeling like food insecure, for food pantry or to access food resources that they may need. We have programs for like emergency financial assistance if a student finds themselves suddenly, with a broken down car or some sort of social need where they need to fulfill they need a quick scholarship to fulfill a quick financial need. We have some of those safety nets available to students that some four-year schools might not really have built in. So those are just some examples. So I want to go into the types of degrees that community colleges offer. So traditionally, there will be two types of two-year degrees that community colleges offer. One would be an Associate of Arts or an Associate of Science, AA or AS degree. And these are really intended for students who want to transfer on to a four-year university. And then we also have the Associate of Applied Arts or Associate of Applied Science. And those are typically intended for students who want to go directly from completing their degree and directly into the workforce. Although just because a student does an applied science or an applied arts degree, that doesn't mean that the opportunity for transfer to a four-year university is eliminated. It just means that that program is more designed for direct entry into the workforce. So some examples of those technical degree programs, those AAS or AAA, those applied programs might be, heating and air conditioning, HVAC, automotive technology, construction technology, culinary arts, graphic design, precision machining, engineering technologies. So you'll see a lot of these are more kind of like hands-on applied programs. And those are some of the most popular that we have at my institution, but also at other community colleges. And then for those students who are wishing to transfer and, study those AS or AA degrees, kind of the way that it works is it's an alternative pathway basically to the US bachelor's degree. So the traditional track that you may be used to hearing about is going from high school directly to 4 years at a university and receiving a bachelor's degree. This AA or this AS model, this associate's model for transfer students is this 2+2 model that you may have heard of, where a student goes from high school to 2 years at a community college, and then 2 additional years at a university to then complete their bachelor's degree. Additionally, if you're working on your English skills, or you need some other kind of transitional study to improve your math skills or other skills, community college often provides opportunities to improve your English in an ESL program or ESL courses, or improve your math skills or other skills that you may need to be ready for that 4-year university level. And these are just some examples of top university transfer degrees that we see often. So students who are interested in things like business administration or accounting, computer science, engineering, IT, STEM fields, sciences like biology, chemistry, and physics. We have a sports management degree here at MCC, so it's a kind of a niche program that I see a lot of students interested in. And I also wanted to point out this liberal arts degree. So this is a program that a lot of students start out in at the community college level. And it's a great program if a student is sort of undecided about what degree or pathway that they want to pursue. It's a very general degree. There's a lot of space for open electives and exploration. And so a student can take their time, exploring different classes and kind of getting an idea of what they're interested in, especially in their first year. And those credits will all still count toward a degree at the end. So I want to talk a little bit about admission to community colleges. So I would say the idea is that all community colleges really have an open admissions policy, which means that it doesn't really matter how strongly you performed in high school as long as you completed high school. So we don't require students to have above a certain grade point average or GPA in order to be admitted. Some 4-year schools, they might not consider a student for admission if they had, below, a B average, a letter grade B average, or an 80 average, or even higher. Whereas community college, as long as you completed high school, we are happy to be a pathway for you into the realm of higher education. We also don't require SAT or ACT test scores like many 4-year schools may require. We often will require proof of English proficiency to a certain degree. So you'll see many community colleges will require something like a TOEFL or an IELTS or a Duolingo score. Each university may have their own required minimum English proficiency score. So for example, here at MCC, we would require a minimum TOEFL of 55 or a minimum IELTS of 5.5 or a minimum Duolingo of 85 points. Every individual community college or college in general can set their required minimum. So it's not going to be the same across the board. We set that minimum based on the depth of ESL classes that we provide here at MCC. We do not have beginning level ESL at MCC. So we require students to at least kind of demonstrate that they're at an upper intermediate level of English in order to enroll here. There are other community colleges that have much deeper ESL programs. They may have an ESL school where a student can enroll in ESL for, a semester or a year or longer and do full-time English until they're ready to start an academic program in English. We do not have something like that at MCC. We require students to start right away in their academic program, and they can take some ESL classes alongside their academic courses for support if they need it. So that's definitely something to look at when you're applying to schools based on, what your level of English is, your perceived level of confidence in your English skills, kind of decide if you would prefer to go to a school and study, more intensive English first, or if you feel ready or the school deems you ready to enroll directly into an academic program. And community colleges also, because of that open admission, we're not going to require typically essays or letters of recommendation from teachers or people in your community. But we are going to want to see that proof of high school completion. So your diploma or that your high school transcripts, and show that you're in your final year of study and you're working toward completion. Okay. So MCC in particular, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our college. So we are located in Rochester, New York, which is the third most populous city in New York State, but about 1 million people metropolitan. So it is a smaller city. We're located about 1.5 hours away from Niagara Falls, if any of you have heard of Niagara Falls. And we're about a 3-hour drive to Toronto, Canada, which is an amazing city. We have, because of our proximity to Canada, we have many students who like to visit Toronto, Montreal, cities in Canada as well while they're studying in New York. And we're about a 5.5-hour drive or a 1-hour flight to New York City. We are a city that has a lot of other respected colleges and universities in the area. The University of Rochester and Rochester Institute of Technology are two very large and very well-respected universities in the Rochester area. So we do have plenty of students who come to MCC in particular because they know that they want to transfer to RIT or University of Rochester in the future, due to their strong academic programs and the fact that they're respected around the world. We also here in Rochester have a significant Ukrainian population. We have a suburb right outside of Rochester called Webster that consistently ranks in the top 20 US communities with the highest percentage of residents born in Ukraine. So we've been seeing a lot of people coming to the Rochester area over the last several months through the Uniting for Ukraine program, and I've been helping a lot of them enroll here at MCC. Some other general statistics about MCC is that we are part of the State University of New York system, SUNY, which is the largest higher education system in the United States. That is New York State's public university system. And we are the third largest community college within that system. We have over 100 degree and certificate programs, so we have pretty much something for everybody. And we have over 40 transfer agreements to different four-year institutions, so different four-year universities in the Rochester area, in New York, and beyond. And I'd also like to point out that just because we might not have a particular transfer agreement for a specific school, that doesn't mean you can't transfer there in the future. So even though we have, partnerships with the University of Rochester or RIT or the University at Buffalo, I've had students transfer to schools in Massachusetts and California and Florida, all over the United States. So just because we don't have a specific, 2+2 transfer agreement with a school you might be interested in, that doesn't mean that you can't go there in the future. And we're about a mid-sized institution as well. We have about 8,300 students right now for credit enrollment. We also have many thousands of other students who are enrolled at MCC through like workforce development type of programs, part-time, non-credit, or students who are cross-registered to MCC from local high schools, earning college credit at the same time that they're working on their high school diploma. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about SUNY as well. So I know this isn't, some of the writing on this map is very small, but I just wanted to show you SUNY has over 60 campuses throughout the state. So we have, oh, perfect. That zoom in is great. Thank you. We have Sorry, I'm just, okay. We have about 30 different community colleges. So you will see those in green. Sorry, my phone is ringing. 1 second. Okay. So all of the community colleges are here in green. And then, and those are all of the 2-year institutions. And then we have all of the different 4-year institutions that are in purple, orange, and blue. And those are representative of different types of 4-year institutions. So we have technology colleges within SUNY that are focused specifically on, certain agricultural programs, specific technical degree programs as well. They focus in on maybe those engineering technologies, a lot of like hands-on type of programs. Then in the orange, you'll see university colleges, and those are a lot of our kind of mid-sized colleges that focus specifically on undergraduate education, so bachelor's degrees. And those are all over the state as well. And then in the blue, you'll see only a few of those. You might have heard of University at Buffalo, or Stony Brook University, or University of Binghamton, or University at Albany. Those are our large university centers, is what we call them. And they have bachelor's degrees at those institutions, but they also have doctorate and many master's degree programs as well. So if you and someday in the future are interested in getting, a PhD or a law degree or a medical degree, we have programs from, associates all the way up through doctorate degrees within SUNY. And all are public institutions, and so they are often more affordable and accessible to students. Okay. And I wanted to mention that as well, because the nice thing about SUNY is that because they're all within this public university system of New York State, they really allow for a lot more flexible transfer within institutions, a lot more of a smooth transfer. So many students, if they come to a community college like MCC Monroe first, like I said, they don't have to, but it can be a lot smoother for them to then transfer on to one of the 4-year technology colleges, university colleges, or university centers once they complete their associate's degree. So there's a lot of different opportunity, breadth of programs, and levels of degrees as well within the SUNY system. Okay. So I just wanted to give you an example of sort of what the cost comparison looks like between a public community college like MCC, a public university. So this is the University at Buffalo within the SUNY system, and then RIT, which is a private selective university that's nearby to us. So you can kind of see a breakdown here between the total cost of attending a community college versus a public 4-year university versus a private 4-year university. The cost savings is really incredible. And that really opens the doors for a lot of students to start at a place like MCC or community college, save a lot of money over those 2 years before they transfer on to that 4-year university to their final 2 years. You'll end up with the same degree at the end of those 4 years, but you'll save a really astronomical amount of money by starting out at the community college level. So I want to take a couple of minutes to just talk about costs a little bit more in depth, because I know that it's a topic that is often at the forefront of students' minds when they're thinking about attending university, especially in the United States. So international students are required to demonstrate that they can afford at least 1 academic year of expenses in order to receive what's called the Form I-20 and apply for an F1 international student visa. And you'll submit the proof of those funds to MCC or to the college that you're applying to as part of the admission process. You can provide that documentation, personally or from family members or your academic sponsor. And you may need to show proof of funds to U.S. visa officers as well as part of the visa application process. International students are not eligible for financial aid from the U.S. government directly, but many private universities and some public universities can offer need-based financial aid and scholarships or grants to international students. You will have to inquire and apply through that particular school. Every school is different in terms of how they award aid to students, especially international students. You can also search for scholarships and loan providers online. There's a lot of good resources for those on the internet. Some students might be from a city, or your home country's government may have opportunities for study abroad scholarships through organizations in your community. And I also wanted to mention something very exciting. SUNY, the State University of New York, like I mentioned, all of those different campuses earlier, recently passed a tuition resolution for students who are from countries on the temporary protected status list. So this is a list that the United States government puts out for countries who are currently undergoing, some type of war or natural disaster that is making it difficult for students to return home to their country or be in their country. So Ukraine is currently on that list of temporary protected status countries. So SUNY recently passed a resolution that says students from Ukraine or countries on that TPS list can actually be granted the resident tuition rate if they attend a school within SUNY. So prior to this, international students typically pay about double what a New York resident student might pay in tuition. But temporarily, due to this resolution, students from Ukraine or any country on that TPS list would be able to pay about half what they were paying previously. So they can pay the resident tuition rate like a student who is, a citizen and who has been residing in New York for much of their life. So that's been a great benefit that I was very glad to see the SUNY Board of Trustees pass, because I see how much that can help students be able to enroll and also complete their degree if they're from a country where they're experiencing hardships. I also wanted to mention, I didn't make a slide for this, but I just want to, I know it can be helpful for students to kind of hear examples of what is like a kind of student that benefits from community college, right? They're maybe not sure if community college is right for them based on their individual circumstance. So some examples of students who benefit from community college, I just kind of want to say, like, really it can be anybody. Any and every student can benefit from attending community college. A student who needs English, support, ESL prior to starting university, community college is a great place for them. A student who wants to save money, right? I think that's almost every student. A student who might be unsure about their career or study path. Starting at a four-year university, especially, an expensive private university, that can be a risk, right? To not know what you want to study yet and be paying that high tuition. So community college can be a great starting point for a student who's unsure of their career path, gives them that flexibility and time and a comfortable place to explore different areas of study. Or a student who may already be very academically prepared and ready to go right into four-year university, but maybe they have a dream school or a reach school that they want to study at. And, they want to go to New York University or Harvard, and they want to study a very, a program that is very selective. But maybe they don't have the GPA or the SAT scores or even the TOEFL or Duolingo scores to get into that university right now. A community college is an amazing place to go first to attend, and you can build up that academic record, you can build up your English skills, you can get that amazing GPA at a community college first, and then apply to that dream or that reach school. And those dream or those reach schools are typically going to look at your most recent academic history first. Even if you weren't the most amazing student in high school, they're going to look at how did they do in the US university system. So if you did wonderfully at community college, even if you weren't the best student in high school, they'll look at that GPA and how you performed in your classes in the United States at that community college, and that will factor often more strongly into whether they will accept you into that dream or that reach school. So really, the message I want to drive home is that community college is for everyone. And it's an amazing place for any student to start off their university study in the United States. We have programs, we have locations, and we have a fit for everyone. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to stay on as long as you need.
Thank you so much, Carly, for such a wonderful presentation and for sharing with us your insights into the system of community colleges and the different opportunities that students can receive while studying in the USA. And for any of us who have just tuned in and are wondering if you've missed anything, don't worry, we'll have a recording of this whole webinar so you can rewatch it and note down any information. And of course, we encourage you to leave a comment down below and ask some of your burning questions about community colleges in general or about the 2+2 model in particular. And actually, I've got a question of my own, if you don't mind, Carly.
Sure.
So a lot of our students are actually quite worried about testing, seeing as currently in Ukraine, the test centers for IELTS and TOEFL aren't working. So they have to go abroad in order to take these tests. So are there any alternative options? So maybe they could attend an interview with an admission officer to show their level of English or take the test once they get to the USA. So are there any chances for that?
So that will definitely be a question that students will have to ask campuses individually. I know at MCC, we actually started accepting the Duolingo exam exactly for the reason that you just mentioned, is that, having to go to a TOEFL or an IELTS testing center during COVID specifically became very difficult for students across the world. So I would look for campuses that accept the Duolingo exam. I think it's a test that campuses are really starting to accept very broadly now. Many hundreds of institutions are now accepting the Duolingo test across the country. And the benefit of Duolingo is, I sound like a salesperson for Duolingo, but the benefit is that students can take it right on their home computer. If you have, access to internet, you can take it right on your home computer. And it's actually much less expensive than TOEFL or IELTS. I think it's something around just about $50 US to take that test as well. So I would look for those first and foremost. But if the school that you're interested in is not accepting Duolingo, then you can definitely talk to them on a case-by-case basis. They may be willing to, sit down and interview with a student to assess their English language proficiency instead. Or if it's a community college, some community colleges, especially if they have deep English programs, deep ESL already, they might not require proof of English language proficiency at all, because they can provide that from the beginning level if needed. They may just have a student test upon arrival to their school. So I would say, it's going to be kind of case by case, but if you are looking into a school that accepts Duolingo, that's probably going to be one of the most accessible ones for you at this time.
Thank you so much. That was really informative. And I think a lot of the students should look into Duolingo as an option for doing their testing and providing a proof of their proficiency of English. And actually, we've got a question from our audience member. So Daniel, thank you so much for joining our today's meeting. And Daniel is asking if there is a chance for him to reach out further along if he's got any questions. So first of all, Daniel, you can always reach out to EducationUSA and sign up for a free consultation with us. And of course, I think that if Carly doesn't mind, I think Daniel, if he's interested specifically in studying at your college, he might reach out to you directly if he's got any questions about the admission process or some details to clear up. So thank you once again. And another question from me actually is, how would you describe your ideal student? So I know that universities and colleges in the USA do not only look at grades, so they also value previous experience or experience in volunteering. So what does Monroe College really value in prospective students?
Sure. I mean, again, the difference between applying to a community college and applying to a four-year school is we don't look as closely at a student's resume or CV or, previous volunteering or civic or, experiences as part of the admission process. But once you're here, we love to have an involved student. We love to have a student who's interested in joining clubs and organizations or attending events that other clubs and organizations throw. We love a curious student, right? A student who's still engaged with our campus, a student who wants to engage with their professors, get to know their faculty, become a part of our campus. We can be a very vibrant campus, despite the fact that a lot of students, commute here. We do have a great on-campus, residence hall community here that drives a lot of our student involvement. But like I said, we're here for anyone. We're here for a student who knows what they want to do and is hitting the ground running. We're also totally accepting of students who aren't quite sure what they want to study and are just curious and want to try out different things. And honestly, I love to advise students who are feeling unsure and help them, have those conversations with them about what are your interests? Let me try to find you classes that we can see if this really fits with your goals. It's just really wonderful to see a student who's unsure try out different things and find something that they really fall in love with and follow that pathway. And I think that's really the beauty of the community college environment. So we're not looking for any one kind of student, but we're really open to everyone.
Thank you so much, Carly, for those words of encouragement to our students. And a final question from me is actually on the topic of residency.
Sure.
So a lot of students have heard that living in the US and in particular in the area around New York can be quite expensive. So they're wondering, is there a chance and would they be eligible for living on campus? So are there any residency requirements for international students?
Sure. At community colleges, typically there's not a residency requirement. So we have our college residence halls or suites here available for any student that wants to live on campus, but it's not a requirement. And that I would say that's typical of community colleges in general. Those four-year schools, they often have a residency requirement for 1 year, at least 1 or 2 years, I would say, for students to live on campus. Sometimes living on campus can be actually more expensive than living off campus, depending on the area. So if you're in New York City, certainly housing is very expensive around that area. But much of SUNY, almost all of the schools in SUNY are actually not directly in New York City. We're spread out around, smaller cities across the state, or even in some more suburban and rural areas that can be definitely much more affordable places to live. So I would encourage students to I know that New York City is a wonderful draw, but there's many other areas of New York that are much more affordable to live and study, and still offer many of the benefits in being in New York State in general.
Thank you so much. That was a great answer. And thank you for joining us today. I've immensely enjoyed your presentation and have found so much interesting information for myself and for my students. And I think I speak for everyone on the team of Education USA Ukraine. It was truly a pleasure to have you come here and speak to us, and I look forward to maybe hosting future events with you. I hope we can stay in touch, and thank you all of you who are watching us right now live or later at home. And if you have any questions, or if you are unsure if you fulfill the requirements for study in the USA, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll advise you and help you on your journey to higher education. So thank you, Carly, once again, and goodbye to everyone. I hope you stay safe, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.